ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति. We discussed it earlier. It's a very interesting concept where Swamiji is talking about how do we understand our emotion. Based on our understanding, that emotion becomes our strength or weakness. So nothing wrong with emotion, nothing wrong with our mind. Mind has emotions, which is all fine. As long as we are in control of our emotions, we will be able to function, use it, utilize it for helping ourselves and others. The interesting part is, moment we lose control of our own emotions, we are detrimental to ourselves and others as well, to society, to community, to wherever we are. So it is very vital, very important to understand the role of emotion. Where does it stand? It's not running away, it's not having, it's not being rude or being intellectual. We talk about having intellect, we focus on developing the intellect. It doesn't mean that we don't have emotions. It only means we need to go to the depth of emotions. We need to have the right understanding and have control of our own personality. Moment we lose control of our personality, anything can happen. And in fact, it is so serious that the subtle emotions, they actually impact the gross body as well. We keep suppressing emotions without controlling, without guiding, without directing it. And that same emotion becomes so powerful that beyond a point, it starts affecting our physical body, and we see the effect of it. It can be in any way, it can be blood pressure, blood sugar, it can be any aspect of our personality. It grossifies the manifestation of our emotions, and that impacts our personality, physical personality as well. So the intellect's task is to solve the problem before it becomes a problem, a greater problem. So emotion is not the problem. When we become emotional, then that is a problem. So moment we take it for granted, we keep uh, allowing that emotion to aggravate. It can be anger, hatred, greed, jealousy. These are negative emotions. We understand it to be wrong. Even positive emotion can be negative, can be wrong, can be harmful. We're talking about positive emotions. We will come to that. We are talking about love, we're talking about charity, we're talking about pity, we're talking about kindness. All these are positive emotions. Even positive emotions can be detrimental if it is not in control. So, strength of emotion, the topic suggests that an emotion should become a strength in the personality, not a weakness. And what determines it to be a strength is that we are in control, the intellect is guiding the emotion, that makes it a strength. And the weakness is when we are guided by the emotion, we are not in control of the emotion. That makes it a weakness. So, in the first subtopic, somebody mentions about that people believe that emotion and intellection cannot go together. The moment there is intellectual understanding, intellect is being developed, you will not have any emotions in the human being, which is not so. It converts the surface emotion, it converts the frail emotions, frail form emotion into the pillar of strength. In fact, the transformation is brought about by the clarity of thought that develops here. Vedanta engenders chaste feelings. It only changes the quality of feeling from sensual to sublime, transforms the character of emotion from personal to impersonal, selfish to unselfish, preferential to universal. Very important line. So it is not tampering the emotion. It is improving the quality of emotion. So, moment we have the a finer quality of emotion, it doesn't require an expression. We believe that only when the emotion is expressed, a person has the emotion, which is not so. Vedanta is teaching us to be mindful of how do we express our emotion. So they're two different things. It segregates between manifestation of emotion and having an emotion. So when we act on the mind straight away, that is emotional action. Here we are saying as a human being, we have a control. We can always have beautiful emotion, but that doesn't mean that we have to express it straight away. It is based on the requirement of the situation and circumstances. And one of the aspect, the facets of emotion we discussed is about love. A very beautiful emotion. If it is not channelized in a proper way, it can be highly detrimental to the society, to the world at large. In fact, the book, The Holocaust of Attachment, which is technically taken before this text, which talks about this concept of love and attachment, where it talks about this formula is love plus selfishness is attachment. So, what we call as love is not really the pure feeling of identification, affection, but it is conditional. We assume that it is the expression which is a pure expression, but it is not. How do we know that? When the condition is affected, any of the form, if I am not catered at the material, physical, emotional, intellectual level, do I still have the same emotion for the other person, for the society, for community? That determines it to be pure or not. Pure love is universal. Attachment is preferential. That feeling of identification, bonding, feeling of oneness for whoever he or she be, whatever being, even other beings, we are able to have the same emotion. That is true identification. In fact, I think there was a quotation: animals are my friends, I don't eat them. I don't eat my friends. There's a concept where identification is not limited just to human beings. Very irony of life. We have pets. We are so caring, so concerned, so thoughtful about it can be a dog or it can be a cat or whatever. And when it comes to other animal, the same affection, identification doesn't carry forward. Irony of life is uh, how can we have not have that feeling for a lamb or any other being for that matter? What stops us to extend that feeling? I understand, okay, if I'm not able to have feeling for any animals, that is bad, which is still okay. But having feeling for one animal and not another, that is quite an irony. It's really lack of understanding, lack of identification. In fact, Swamiji talks about an experience where what happened is his host in London he had experience where his he landed for lectures, he went for there, and then entire family was very worried, very disturbed. So they wanted to speak to Swamiji. And so he said yes. In the middle of the night, he landed. He was more than happy to help the family because they were really disturbed. So father, mother, and two daughters. So the background story was that they had a pet rabbit, and the daughters were very fond of it, and all the entire family was very fond of that small pet, and happened to be going through a problem. So the doctors diagnosed some malignancy, some disease, and said it will die. And this was not a problem. This was very sad. But the problem was His father said that I love rabbit meat. Is it okay if I eat it? And the doctors, they freaked out. They said, what sort of a father are you? Tomorrow you will eat me and my sister. What is this going on? And then Samji came in the picture, and then they said that, sir, we are going to leave. We can't live with this father. He's a doctor and a lovely person otherwise. So then he said, okay. He called the father and said that, what is the problem? So he gave reasoning. His point was that, sir, this I also love the pet, the bunny. It was very cute, sweet, all fine, but it's going to die anyway. So I'm just saying I love rabbit meat. I'm just saying that I want to have it. I don't see anything wrong in it. So somebody asked him one question. He said, don't you feel anything? You want to eat that rabbit, which you were playing with for so many years. Don't you feel anything that you're going to destroy that life and you're going to consume that? Is that doesn't give you any agony, agitation? He said, no, I see it very logical that I am not created the problem. It is going through a problem and I just want to eat it. I don't see anything wrong in my part. He said, okay, leave, send your family. So the mother and two kids, they came to Samji, and then Samji asked, this is what your father and your husband is saying, that he doesn't feel anything. Then they started bouncing. How can you say that? You also agreeing with this is not the way. I mean, we thought that you will have had. He said, wait, hands down. No, don't blast come on me. I'm only telling what your father and your husband is telling you. And he is only saying that he is having the bunny, he doesn't feel anything about it. So his daughter was like, then the daughter said, this is what they're saying. How can you say that he doesn't feel anything? What do you mean by that? Tomorrow he'll cut me and then eat it. So somebody said, are you vegetarian? They said, no. The lamb, when you're eating, the small one, you cut it, chop it, and you consume it. Do you feel anything? They said, no. So he said, you don't feel, I don't see your reaction or your dad's reaction as any different. You may be seeing it different, but I don't see it. As a philosopher, I see both are same. Both are committing mistake and both have no regret for action. Both at the level of animals. Animal consume. Is it wrong? No. Lion kills and eat. Is it wrong? No. But the problem is, lion will not kill, destroy unless and until it is hungry. So it's a meal for it. It's eating for survival. Humans are not eating for survival. We're eating for our enjoyment. So does it mean that we don't enjoy our life? We don't relish? No, nobody's saying that. But we need to analyze our level of enjoyment. Just because there's a half an inch of a tongue, just because of our enjoyment for that half an inch, we are destroying other being. And it's not about just killing, it is the atrocities we are committing to other beings. Do we realize it? What the being has to go through just to entertain me for a few seconds? For that taste, half an inch. Is it worth it? Can it be avoided? Can I survive without it? So, the question is not about being vegetarian or non vegetarian, vegan or not vegan. The question is not that. The question is about where do I stand in terms of my level of identification with others? Now, we may argue and say that, even the plants have life, which is a fact. It has also life. So, killing it, is it not wrong? Yes, it is wrong. But where do we draw a line? It's not justification, it is an understanding that, okay, to what extent can we go? If we can do without it, okay. If we cannot do without it, it's a basic we need to function. So it is the understanding, the identification. Nobody, Vedanta is not commenting anything on our food habits. We can be, in fact, they can be placed where it is required. They can be a country, they can be a place where it is necessary for survival purpose. It is okay. We are talking about the mindset of a person while consuming it, for consuming it. That has to be spiritual. Spirituality is about identification, feeling the oneness with one another. So, if I am feeling for the other being, I will be concerned about not harming other being. That's what the scripture talks us. It's called ahimsa. Ahimsa does not mean non-killing. Very interesting word. Ahimsa means non-injury, not intending to harm any being. You genuinely don't intend to harm. They can be a snake, can be poisonous. How do you handle it? Do you kill it? Do you, destroy it? Do you? So there can be snake in the house. So in fact, in the academy, we do have a lot of snakes because it is their place. To be factual, we are living in their place. So there are snakes around, and when we see it, in fact, there's a in the village, there's a person who actually is a snake catcher. He genuinely feels for the snakes. You know what he does? He catches the snakes. So first thing when we call them, he will ask which type of snake it is. Sometimes we know, sometimes we don't know. If a viper or a rat snake, or we don't know most of the times. So we give them some understanding. Okay, it looks like this. Okay, he knows. Okay, this is a snake. He comes. He actually takes the snake. There's a hill around where we stay, near the academy. See, so there are different places he has categorized for a cobra, for a viper, for a rat snake. Rat snake, we generally leave it, or something poisonous, other different types of snakes. Apparently, snakes cannot see, they only can feel the vibration, the heat. So, once they are born, they actually map the area they are in with their body, heat map kind of thing. And based on that map, they live their life. And that's why when it is rainy, when they have to come out and they get carried up, they don't know where to go, kind of, right? They're lost. So if it is thrown in the road around wherever, they get killed by the vehicles because they really don't know where they're going. So these people, they take it and they put it in a whole area where they all together, and they map it themselves and they live there after. So snakes are not harmful. They don't destroy, they don't kill unless they feel threat. Only when they feel a sense of threat, they attack. Same with any animal. Animals have nothing against humans. In fact, humans are, even a lion will not kill a human being because it's not the meat. They will always kill a wild animal. So, but at the same time, when they're hungry, they may attack. So, point being, identification with other beings. When we identify, we never intend to harm them. So we may have to take care of them, sometimes depoison them, or whatever way we treat, we have to take care, do the needful. But it is always keeping in mind the uh, life of that being and others around. So it is mindful action. It's not a lethargic or a general, just destroy it and we are the human being, we dictate terms. It's not in that sense. So ahimsa is not intent to harm. It is not killing. In fact, this is the sad part. why this country being invaded so many times, the culture was never to kill, it was never to destroy. And that has been taken the other extreme. So, identification with one and all is the message, it is spiritual growth. And moment it becomes preferential, it becomes conditional, it is no more spiritual. It is selfish and self centered. Spirituality is about dissolving our individuality, dissolving our selfishness. And moment we highlight the selfishness and we color the affection of love with selfishness, it becomes attachment. And the problem with attachment is we suffer. And not only that we suffer, people around also suffers. And that's the reason we find it difficult to carry a relationship longer because both parties are selfish. So it doesn't go well. They revolt or there will be difference in opinion, which is nothing wrong. The acceptance of difference is the problem. When we are selfish, we don't want to accept other people to be different. We want them to be as we want. We have a picture, we have an image of a personality of a person. We want them to be as that. We don't accept them as they are, and that creates a further problem. So that is attachment. That comes because of attachment. Another example, there's so many examples of attachment. In attachment, we don't let the other person be. Imagine it actually happened, Swamji gives an example. In Bombay, a child got a scholarship. And instead of being happy and supportive as a family, they were upset that he's going to leave them. So of course he has to leave. What do you mean? It's an obvious thing. No, no, no. How can he, go to US for his study? Doesn't he know that he can do business here? What's the problem? Why he has to go? So somebody has to come in the picture and again solve the problem. And then he said that okay, because they are totally attached. So you have to be here in front of me. So he has to negotiate, and then they said the only condition they agreed was that okay, you can also go and stay with your son. That was the only condition. So he was allowed to go and study. So that's attachment. I don't want you to go anywhere away. I don't want you to function different from whatever anything different from what I believe in. I don't let you be. That's attachment. Love is you genuinely are concerned, caring, thoughtful, and you let the other person be. You don't interfere in any sense. Now, it doesn't mean that we become, um, we don't have feeling, we get into other extreme because we leave them alone. They get into a licentious life. There's a difference between freedom and licentious. I think we discussed earlier that freedom is letting the person be, mentally give them the space. At the same time, there is a guideline, overall guideline for the benefit of the child. Licentiousness is just leave them alone. And that's like a pure mind. As a society, as a community, as an individual, when you leave the mind alone, it just wreaks havoc. You really are not helping the child or anyone for that matter when you leave the mind. It needs a general guidance. So knowledge gives us an understanding of life. Intellect gives us a guidance in life. So until the child's intellect is developed, we have to guide it to the extent possible. But that doesn't mean we go overboard and take their mental freedom and physical freedom as well. Give them that space, let them be, let them grow, let them make mistakes and learn from the mistakes because we all have learned from our mistakes and that's what made us a different person. So it is part of their journey, not making it, what happens is we believe with all good intention, we believe that we don't want them to be hurt. We don't want them to go through the same problems what we have gone through. And in the process, we make it much more difficult for the child. So even struggle, problem is part of the journey. If it is in their life, it it has to be lived experience for them. So we can't cover it up. And so because we will not be there all the time. Throughout their life, they'll not be there. So once they know, of course, we are available to help them when they come back. That is okay. But not letting them face challenge is not the way to handle a mind. So let them experience, give them the freedom, and at the same time, we come in where we make it convenient for them. Convenient means when they express themselves, we don't start scolding them. We don't start, countering their emotions, countering their way of doing things. Then it is stopping. Instead, we handle it gently because they are also trying to figure out things, right? And innocently, they don't know what is the right way of doing things. So they are doing it. We give them reason. We tell them that, okay, if I was in your place, perhaps I would have done it differently. I'd have handled it differently. But it's up to you. You're grown up. You know better. Whatever you do, we'll support you. But this is the bottom line. You should be mindful about the important factors, not to go overboard. The rest of it, we know how to present it. So that makes it pure love, not attachment. So yes, we have there is a saying that what is true, in fact, it comes in charity, which we'll be covering today. True charity is helping a person who can never help you in return. There's nothing you can gain from the person, but still you genuinely concern and caring and you help. That's charity. So here in love, which we covered in the last session, we discussed about the aspect of love and attachment. We said about how to the home should be a center, not the boundary of affection. As we are growing up, we feel that sense of identification, bonding with our siblings, with our parents, with our friends, unconditional friends. There are people who don't have any agenda for being our friend. So we feel that, we understand that, but that should be a starting point. We don't stop there. Home should be the center, not the boundary of your affection. Moment it is a boundary, it is not helping you. It is not pure love. There's a attachment. There's a condition. You have to be close to me. You have to be comfortable. Only then I have the affection for you. No, it can be anybody, everybody. You may manifest it differently. You may be very discreet in the way we conduct ourselves. That is okay. But the inner, genuine bonding feeling, a connect with the other being, other person should always be there. It can be a maid, it can be the servant, it can be the driver who's driving you, it can be on the roadside you see a boy, a child begging, it can be on the street, you see a dog, it can be any being. That purity of feeling is not colored by our selfishness, by an agenda. It is a genuine feeling. We may do whatever we can do, that is okay, but it should not disturb the quality of the affection feelings. It's a beautiful thought of love. In fact, they say, one of the quality of reality, God, they say it's all loving. Now, it has to be understood the right way. So all loving means that identification with one another, no conditional identification. So, in that sense, the pure form of love is universal. Any moment it is, in fact, we can keep on going in this topic. The first quality of a bhakta, of a devotee, out of 35 qualities, the first quality given in the scripture is Advaishta Sarva Bhutana. He says, Advaishta, Dvaishta is hatred. In Sanskrit is negative. Advaishta is no hatred. Sarvam, there is no translation for Sarvam. It means it's all. It's all means completely all, everything included. Huh? And he doesn't stop there. He says Bhutana. Bhutas means elements. We are made of elements, five elements, right? So the gross body is made of gross elements, the subtle body is made of subtle elements. So Bhutana means all beings. Advaishta Sarva Bhutana means not hating any being. And that is a quality of a bhakta, of a devotee, of a spiritual person. The first quality he says is the quality of, he doesn't say how many people you love. You should love everybody. He doesn't say that. Puts a negative. Not hating any being, meaning even if you hate one being, you're not a devotee, you're not spiritual. So that completeness, that wide identification, that level of intense bonding, that is true love, where there is no sense of otherness. He's talking from the absolute. That is the target, that is the reference point we need to reach to. Wherever we are, no, sir. Mother-in-law, except mother-in-law, everything is okay. Except father-in-law, everything is okay. That one person can't deal with. That is where the strength of a chain is the weakest link. The saying is, strength of the chain is the weakest link. You have all the iron links. One of the link is made of cardboard. Your point is there are thousands of links in the that boat. They put that whole thing is a chain is holding the entire ship. Your point is that so many chains are there, links are there. One link is made of cardboard. Can we just manage? Strength of that chain is the weakest link. That determines the entire strength. Similarly, strength of our spiritual our spiritual nature is that weakness, one small weakness that determines my strength. Entire house is locked, everything is secured, biometric locks, CCTV cameras, everything is there. But the kitchen window, we don't secure, we keep it open. That determines the security of the safety of the house. So even one weak area is enough to dismantle it, to destroy it. So love is a pure feeling. Imagine we have to discuss so much just to decide or understand what is pure love, because the affection or what we see as love in the society around us, even in us, is taken for granted, and it is accepted. This is how it should be. Whereas spirituality says there is, if you love God, you will love His world, isn't it? You will never complain about anything. A mother will never say anything wrong about his son or daughter. That is purity of affection, identification. Similarly, if we genuinely feel one with God, if we genuinely love God, we will love His creation. There is nothing to complain about the creation. Everything is as it is. It is what it is. A spiritual person never complains. So we try and find out where we are going wrong and we correct ourselves and move on. Everything has a reason, everything has a purpose. We don't understand. We are too small to understand the bigger picture. There's a reason for everything. So it can be in our life, it can be in the world, how things are falling together, falling apart, whatever we say it. COVID, a lot of people, they said They asked a question to Swamiji, sir, why is there COVID in the world? Swamiji said, what is the worry for COVID? Why are you so worried about COVID? Are you worried that the society is being getting destroyed? People are dying because of COVID? Is that your concern? Yes, yes, of course. Seriously, find out from bottom of your heart. Are you really worried? Somewhere in South America, somebody is dying because of COVID, and you came to know it's retained. There's no flight from South America, and so it is just located there. Nothing is going to happen to you. You're okay, right? It doesn't bother you. Doesn't concern you. What is the concern? It can happen to me as well. That threat, that fear is the concern. That's selfishness. That's not true love. So they can be people with true, genuine concern and care. How hats off to all these people, the doctors and the nurses and all these medical people, all the people who worked towards it and they actually did something about it. We're talking about generally, it is more about one's selfishness, which is highlighted through, which is shown as concern and care in the society, in the world. But it is actually talking about one's own selfishness. In fact, I think I mentioned it earlier about Swami Ramatirtha. He talks about this concept about they don't compromise. They go, they they go, they blast, so he gives a story where he says about a boatman, how a family is in the boat and it's water is coming out from there. And so who will the first person who has to be sacrificed? First the boatman, then the uh, maybe the mother, then the child, then the last person is oneself. So it is the selfishness which is negative in an emotion, nothing wrong with love. So moving to the next topic is kindness. Kindness is a feeling of tenderness, gentleness, a compassionate, benevolent attitude of the mind, a noble emotion that renders the human species supreme, a fine trait that gives human the spiritual edge. Kindness is like a fragrance in a rose, an essential feature of religion. Religious practice without kindness of heart is a mockery, and yet the much talked of religious stalwarts seem to ignore, much less possess, the essence of spirituality. Without kindness, there can be no spiritual evolution. Ella Weller Wilcox present this idea succinctly. So many gods, so many creeds, so many paths that wind and wind, while just the art of being kind is all the sad world needs. So, and then Swami talks about this concept of ahimsa. So, being kind, being gentle, in we also call it empathy. Same idea, same concept. So, it is that genuine feeling. Uh, so, it's coming from love, but it is a deeper affection. It is a similar affection of kindness. It should not become that, you know, being nice to others, being considerate to others, being recognizing others. That is kindness. So the concept of kindness is being gravely misconstrued in India. They blunder a following spiritual doctrine of ahimsa, which we covered, as non-injury and refuse to inflict any form of injury. They are more concerned about the act of kindness rather than the thought of kindness. Very, very important point. So the world goes by action, by manifestation. So it is highlighted by the act of kindness. But the person inherently will be very selfish and self centered, perhaps. So it is not the act of kindness, but the thought of kindness which is important to be focused on. Doesn't matter what the other person believes, what the society thinks. That's not the point of concern. Maybe other people didn't even see me to be kind. That is not the point. But as a human, I need to be kind to others, other beings. Shakespeare points out this human weakness in his play, Hamlet, where he advises that one needs to be sometimes cruel to be kind. So, even we were discussing last time about by not giving, you're giving. In fact, it's coming in charity. You see, you're sometimes cruel to be kind. You may have to, uh, as if, lose your emotion to just highlight, to put across a point, a message to a child or a person, but you don't lose it, right? So you are being cruel in terms of not giving them what they want, but you are being kind, actually being kind. You may sometimes have to be cruel only to be kind. So you are considerate, you are thoughtful, but your way of expression can seemingly be cruel. That's what he means. So the act of kindness is you're not concerned about. You are concerned about the thought of kindness. So that is what matters, and that is only we will know. Other person will not know what's going within us. So it is only it's how we feel about it. Hindus have followed a doctrine of ahimsa blindly. They have abstained from injuring anybody, irrespective of the consequence occurring therefrom, even if that led to their own destruction later. That's what we're talking about. The invasion of the country is because of following this doctrine blindly of ahimsa, not harming, not injuring. This fanatic approach to life has rendered the Hindu race passive and vulnerable, a weakness that turned out to be a diabolic weapon in the hands of the oppressor and invaders, which was made used to destroy the Indian culture, tradition, and religion. The epic Mahabharata highlights the grave error and offer corrective measures wherein the great hero Arjuna was overwhelmed by the flood of emotion. He refused to injure and destroy his kith and kin, arrayed in the opposing forces. He would not fight and sought Krishna's advice. Krishna recharged Arjuna with a higher vision to fight for the noble cause, to revive righteousness in the state, for which the war, injury, and destruction was inevitable. Arjuna corrected his vision. He rose, fought, and brought about enduring peace and happiness to the people. So kindness is not injury, but it is the thought which is important, not wanting to harm any being. That understanding which is important. That is the aspect of kindness. So kindness is a noble, compassionate, and mental attitude giving spiritual edge. Its concept has been misconstrued in India. So, feeling of tenderness, gentleness, compassion is a noble emotion. It is like it should be naturally in a human, and art of being kind is all the sad world needs. What people go with is a blindly not harming, and that becomes tricky. And then we are talking about Arjuna, how it in the peak of crisis, in the where he was supposed to act, fight to take away unrighteousness from the society, he has responsibility, a higher obligation. He feels it is unkind to hurt, to harm, to kill. That's what is being highlighted. You have to be cruel to be kind. You're seemingly cruel, but you're being kind to others. And that's the meaning of kindness. Next quality is pity. So again, pity is a feeling of sympathy for the suffering of others, an impulse of sorrow for their misfortune. An immature emotion, very important point. Pity is a weakness. I feel pity for someone. It's a human weakness. Some people spend their life trying to please others, consider it cruel to break another's heart. They yield to this weak pity and torture themselves, catering to others' feeling. You cannot live your life thus merely feeding others' emotions. Your character lies in upholding your intellectual conviction through your life's journey and not letting yourself be victimized by weaker emotions. So, pity should not be it is the weak pity. Generally, we call in philosophy as a weak pity, because when we pity others, what makes it a weakness? We put ourselves in a higher pedestal, and that's why we feel sad for them, poor thing, which is the negative part of it, which is unspiritual, which is a weakness part of it. So nothing wrong in that feeling. So it should not be coming out of a superiority feeling. Yes. In other words, by doing helping others, we are not doing any favor to anybody. It is our obligation to serve, to sacrifice, to help. It's like we take a loan from the bank, 1 million I've taken, and I go to the bank and give $10,000 every week or every month, and people looking at it says such a big charitable gesture he's doing. I'm not doing anything. I'm supposed to give. Similarly, that's coming up. Charity is the next topic. So it is my obligation to give back. I am taking from the world every moment of my life. I'm taking. So it's not a big deal. The world can survive without me, but it is my obligation to do whatever I can do in my own way. That feeling should not be coming out of pity, feeling pity for others. That is what he is talking is a immature emotion and a human weakness. This weakness stems from ignorance of the general plan of nature. The world is a meticulous program by the principle of cause and effect. Every effect has a cause and every cause has an effect. You reap what you sow. You get what you deserve, not what you desire. It is a law of action, law of karma. When a pitiable scene confronts you, let your intellect access it and control your surface emotion. Do not let your emotion cloud your intellectual judgment. Thus, must you act with discretion, your action then befits what the situation demands. So, we're talking about this quality of pity. We need to have a clarity of what's happening. A person is in a slum. He is going through a lot of problem, suffering, sorrow. Now, the law is you get what you deserve. He worked, he acted for it, he got it. He is there because he worked, he deserved to be there. Now, that doesn't mean that we become, uh, the other side is we mock it or we feel, oh, thank God, I'm not in that place. That's not the point. The point is, yes, we feel bad about it, do whatever can be done and move on. Pity feeling that, oh, why this is happening to him, poor thing, that is what he's seeing as a weakness. We don't have to feel that way. We don't have to see it that way. There's a reason for everything. There's a reason for every people suffering. There's a reason for person getting prosperity. There's a reason for what we get in life. There's a cause and effect functioning meticulously. Does it mean that we don't feel for others? No, that doesn't mean that. It's they get what they deserve, so leave them alone. Not for that. Whatever can be done from my side, I do it. But I don't feel that feeling of why is this happening to them. This should not have happened to them. Why God is doing so bad to them. That sort of a feeling is negative. That's what he's saying. So it should not get into pity. Pity is a weakness in the emotion. Next is charity. This will be the last topic for the day. Charity is a beautiful emotion. A charitable disposition enriches life. You are rich by what you give. The only right you can claim in this world is to give. You may give wealth or service, feeling or knowledge. A spirit of giving provides you with the happiness you seek in the world. Nevertheless, you blunder in seeking happiness through asking, taking. Prayer and worship has been reduced to licensed beggary. People all over the world pray for success or progress, health or wealth, property or progeny. Their list of desires and demands is endless. They do not realize the futility of such prayer. No sooner the spirit of asking, taking enters you, it destroys whatever little peace and happiness you possess. You are unaware that yourself is supreme. The kingdom of heaven lies within you. You are a monarch, not a beggar. You need not ask for anything. You have everything. You have only to realize that. You then develop the spirit of charity to share, to give. What he's saying is when we think that we don't have, automatically we want from the world, from society, from people, from God. We need to recognize how much we have received, we are receiving every moment of my life. So, moment the time I'm born, the mother's milk was available, not a day before or after. The temperature within is maintained, the blood circulation is maintained, the heart beat is maintained. Imagine the heart stops pumping. The doctor doesn't know how to rectify that. They can only give from outside avenues to create that impulse. That's all they can do. They cannot create the heart. They cannot create the aspect of the heartbeat. They can't do that. So it's been maintained. The weather is maintained. So externally, outside, internally, the oxygen supply is being maintained, the oxygen in the blood is maintained. So many things are meticulously taken care of. When we cut the finger, there are forces coming and healing it, right? Imagine it's not healed. There's a problem, there's a disease where it's not healed. So automatically a person can die because of bleeding if it's not healed, if it's not protected. So we take it for granted. Millions and millions of things we have received in our life. We are receiving every moment of our life. We are able to see, we are able to function normally. There are people who don't have proper eyesight, proper hearing, proper way of functioning. We have billions and trillions of things. And what we do, we go to a place of worship and ask for one more thing. Ingratitude is worse than the traitor's arm, says Shakespeare. That's being ingratitude. Being grateful to what we have received is devotion, is bhakti. When we recognize what all we have received, every moment of our life, automatically the thought is on giving, sharing, caring. When we do not have that understanding, automatically the thought is on taking from the world, from society, from others, from God. So then comes the prayer. Prayer is not a beggary. It's not asking for one more thing. What are we saying? What are we trying to do with it? We're trying to tell God what He should do. He knows best. He knows what He's doing. Let's be factual. So we don't need to tell Him what He should do, how He should manage the world and the creation. So it is in our interest to understand how much we have received and have that feeling. Then comes a spirit of charity. Then you then develop the spirit of charity to share and to give. There's a story, a sage who lived in total contentment, peace, and bliss. Two gestures summed up his life. He gave, he forgave. He was a picture of selflessness, with no like or dislike, no desire or expectation. Lord Shiva and consort Parvati, pleased with this the sage devotion, descend upon earth to bless him. The good man was then mending his torn clothes. He prostrated to the divine visitors. Shiva offered him a boon to ask for anything he needed. The sage spoke with all his devotion. My lord, you have provided me with everything. There is nothing I lack that I may ask thee. Ironically, he had no possessions and was living on alms. Upon Parvati's insistence, Shiva pressed him to choose for a boon. The sage felt helpless. His eyes fell upon the clothes he was stitching. He brightened up and asked, my request is that the thread should follow the needle. Look at the helplessness of these realized masters. They don't know what to ask, they don't know what to say. They feel so complete, they feel so blessed that they have nothing more to ask. They only feel, what can I give? How can I give? That's the only thought they carry. So that's being highlighted in the story. This is an example of of the lives of enlightened souls. Scripture have many such episodes which display their total helplessness when it comes to asking and receiving. Their life is They live a life of absolute fulfillment, desire nothing, expecting nothing, try to emulate their outstanding stature, realize that nothing in the world can provide you with peace and happiness, and learn the art of giving. Take that position of a giver. You become a personification of joy and happiness. Practice this in the marketplace, in the street, at work, at home, everywhere. Be you governor or governed employer. So that attitude of sharing, giving, in fact, this is maybe as a task you can do for this 1 week. Go through this movie, Les Miserables, unless you have gone through it, you have seen it already. A very beautiful movie. Victor Hugo writes a novel called The Les Miserables. So it's a very beautiful. There are movies on it. There's a recent one as well. If you get a chance to watch the older version, that's a better one. Actually, it's available on YouTube as well. So the story is about a person who became a thief and was not negative. I don't know how many of you have seen Dhurandhar. Uh, okay, you might have heard of the movie. Similar concept where this guy, he is caught because of a crime, but he is not a criminal. Deep within, he has a very positive feeling. He was a good person. So the story goes, this guy is caught for stealing bread and medicine for his mother and family and his sister. So, and the punishment was 20 years of imprisonment just to steal bread. So he went through it, and there's this the the guy who was governing the prison. He was very anti this fellow. He was very angry with this guy, so he kept on increasing his sentence. From 10 years, it became 20 years, and he was really torturing him. Somehow he ran out of the prison. Now he came across in the village, there was one house where the door was open. So he went in, there was a priest on a dining table. And in that time, he's coming, shabby clothes and the prisoner's clothes is coming. The priest looked at his state. He understood he is in need. He didn't even ask him any question. He sat down. So he asked the guest. He was a guest. He asked the prisoner, please sit down. You seem to be hungry. Please, I'll be more than happy to have you as my guest. And he told his maid, put a plate for a meal for two. And the maid is used to this gesture of the priest. So she didn't mind. And the tradition in the house is that the guest is fed with a um, silver plate. Silver plate set is brought for the guest. So the maid brought the thing, set up the whole thing, no conversation between the prisoner and the priest. They had dinner. And by the end of the dinner, the priest said, "You look very tired. If you wish to rest here, there's a guest room. Please, you can relax. And then in the morning, wherever you wish to go, you can go." So he didn't mind that. He was happy to have a place to stay. And the maid cleared up the whole thing and kept the plate set in the same room, guest room. This guy saw the plate set. He's a prisoner, he's a thief. He saw the plate set, silver plate set, and the maid left. In the middle of the night, this guy, he got the plate set, and he ran away. So this guy came to know of it. He didn't say anything. The priest didn't say anything. He got up in the morning, as usual. He kept his ritual studies he was going through, and this he get a knock on the door. So he goes to see what's happening. So there's a policeman has come to see what's going on. So he has brought this prisoner. He got hold of this guy, and he also had a meal with this priest. So he recognized the plate set, and he caught the guy in the night, but he didn't want to disturb the priest. So he brought him in the morning, and he brought in front of him the priest and said, "Sir, you decide whatever you want to, do with him. He stole your plate set and he ran away, and we caught him." So the priest looked at the prisoner and the police, and he said, "Why did you do this to him?" And both of them were surprised. "Oh, what do you mean?" He said, "It was a gift. He didn't steal it. I gave him. It was not really a gift." So the policeman apologized. He had more respect for this thief. Why did you not tell me that it was a gift? You know, uh, because it was not a gift. Anyway, long and short of it, he apologized to both of them and he left. And then the whole story is picked up. There was a silver candlestick on the in the lobby. He picked it up and he gave it to the thief and said, "Why did you not take this? This would have given you more money." And the boy was surprised. The prisoner was surprised. What's going on? And while giving, he said, "Son, remember, life is to give, not to take. Remember, life is to give, not to take." An act of charity, act of giving changed his life. When you see the movie, you will know how that one act made him a complete different person, a selfless person serving the society. He became a mayor. He is helping. In the end, he is protecting somebody else's child till the end of his life. He is actually helping out so that the child, he gives the daughter, the other child education, and then she takes care of her, and then in the end, the daughter is going to get married to the boy, and the same candlestick stand, he didn't sell it. He gave it to the boy and said, "Son, remember, life is to give, not to take." That attitude in life is charity. Charity is not merely giving, writing a check and giving. It's not charity. It is more than that act of giving, the thought of giving. When you have a genuine thought, you function in that way, it changes the life of others. That's the beautiful example. The priest knew this boy, this person is noble from heart. So automatically, he knew how to conduct himself. And one act of giving changed his life. That is true charity. We will do the rest of few points in the next class. Thank you.